I'm Kelli Schulte from Kingdom Kids Nutrition, and I welcome you to Kelli's Kitchen. Today we're going to be making a gluten-free, dairy-free, dark chocolate zucchini cake. Have you ever wondered what to do with all that zucchini you have in your garden or at the farmer's market? Well, today we're going to learn just what you can do with it that's not cinnamon spiced. So stick around, I have a few kitchen helpers that are going to be joining me, and we're going to show you how to make a quick and easy dark chocolate zucchini cake. Alright, to start off our cake today, we are going to start with the dry ingredients. So, Matthew, why don't you put in our flour? We're going to start with 1.5 cups of Bob's Bread Mill gluten-free all-purpose flour mix. You can use any gluten-free all-purpose flour mix that you would like. Dump it in there, buddy. Dump it in. And then we're going to take 1/4 of a cup of baking cocoa. The baking cocoa that I like is the Equal Exchange baking cocoa. You can find it at most co-ops. I usually buy it when it's on sale and stock up. The next thing we're going to add is we're going to do 2 teaspoons. I've already put 1 in, but we're going to put another teaspoon in. Go ahead, Matthew. Of baking powder. You want to make sure that your baking powder is aluminum free. I just buy mine in the bulk section because it's a lot cheaper at the co-op to do it that way. You can also at all major grocery stores find it aluminum free. The next thing we're going to add is our baking soda, and you also need 2 teaspoons of that. Make sure it's nice and level off the top, and we'll dump that in. And then just to enhance the flavor a little bit, we're going to add a little bit of sea salt, which is 1 teaspoon. There you go, Matthew. You want to hold that for me, buddy? We're going to dump in 1 teaspoon of sea salt. There we go. And then Matthew is going to stir that really nicely. When it gets all stirred in and kind of turns a nice brown cocoa-y color, we're going to take a break, and then we're going to switch and get all of our wet ingredients ready. Thank you, Matthew, for being a great helper in mixing up my dry ingredients.
No problem.
Ah! Hello, now I have Benjamin, my little guy. He's going to help me with the next step. And we are going to start by putting in 4 organic eggs, and we're going to beat them up really well. We're going to whisk them up. If you have a hand mixer, I couldn't find my cord, so I'm not using a hand mixer right now. I'm just using my hands. Mix it really, really well. After you have your eggs mixed, I'm going to add in my coconut oil, which is 1/2 cup of coconut oil. I'm also going to add 1/2 cup of applesauce. You can omit the applesauce and just use 1 full cup of coconut oil if you want. I just find that my cake turns out moister if I use a 1/2 cup of applesauce as well. And then I'm going to, whipping that up. We're going to whip in some sugar. And it's actually coconut sugar is what I'm using. I'm using 1 cup. The recipe actually calls for 1.5 cups, but I find that 1 cup is sweet enough for our family. So if you mix it up and you find that it's not sweet enough, just add another 1/2 cup and you'll be good to go. And then Benjamin, why don't you pour this in? This is our almond milk. We're going to have 1/2 cup of almond milk. This then makes our recipe completely dairy-free as well as gluten-free. You want to mix it a little bit, buddy? And one of the tips I have is always include your kids in the cooking, and they will be your biggest helpers, and they'll eat what they create. So now we're going to go to the next step. Alright, now we've come to our last step. Actually, this is what I normally do first, but I'm going to show it to you last. When you're making it yourself, you should do this first because then your chocolate can kind of cool. You're going to take a 1/2 cup of olive oil, and it's about 3/4 of a cup. It calls for 6 ounces of dark chocolate. You can take a dark chocolate candy bar and zip it up, just chopping it up really fine and then melting it. Or what I use is just a gluten-free, dairy-free, soy-free, nut-free, everything-free dark chocolate chip from Enjoy Life. It's just a little quicker, but you can do it either way. So I'm going to melt this up and I'll be right back. Alright, now I have my assistant Michael here, and he is going to help me stir all of our ingredients together. So we're going to pour our melted olive oil and chocolate chips, or chunks of dark chocolate if you chose to use that instead. We're going to pour that right in there, and Michael's going to stir it nicely for us, and slowly so it doesn't get all over the kitchen. And then we're going to add some flour. You're right, the flour, the cocoa powder, all the dry ingredients. We're going to put that in there, and Michael's going to stir that up for us too. And as he's doing that, I'm going to get the little pieces I got around. Let him stir that a little. then we'll do it together for a little bit and get all the stuff from the sides and the bottom. And when it's starting to look nice and moist like that, we're going to add in our zucchini. 3 cups of zucchini. Zucchini is an abundant vegetable in our garden this summer, as every summer. And zucchini, you can use the yellow summer squash or the green zucchini. Just use a grater, grate it up to any coarse size. It kind of just disintegrates in the cake as it bakes. And zucchini is great. It's high in vitamin A, vitamin C, which are great for your immune system. It also has a lot of magnesium and potassium. So it's an all-around pretty good vegetable for... I was kind of shocked when I found out the information about the zucchini. You too? Okay, we're going to get this extra little flour that spilled on the counter. We're going to throw that in there. You stir it up there, buddy. And then our last step is we're going to dump all this in a 9 by 13 pan.
I want to do it.
You can help. And if you would like, you can cut the recipe in half and just use an 8 by 8 pan, and it works just as well. So now we're going to dump this in. We're going to scrape all the extra pieces, or all the extra dough, excuse me, into our pan. We're going to let this bake 40 to 60 minutes. It really depends on how much moisture is in the zucchini. I've kind of noticed as I've been cooking it. So just let it cook and use the little toothpick test. Insert a toothpick. If it comes out clear, your cake is done and ready to be eaten. And if it comes out gooky, you want to let it cook a little bit longer. And then you want to let the cake cool fully before you cut it. Like with all gluten-free things, it tends to fall apart a little faster if you don't do that. So here's a tip I have for you with zucchini, because it can be like a weed in the summer. What you want to do is grate it up and pre-measure it into Ziploc freezer bags. Put it in there, get as much air out of it as you can, and then label it. Like this is labeled for cake, so I know that this is 3 cups of zucchini all ready for my dark chocolate cake. And so I just put bags of that in my freezer. I make other bags like 1 cup or 1 small zucchini for the muffins that I make. And you can have them all ready and prepared. It makes it quick and easy to just zip the cake together any time of year.